Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going over Tom Aspall's first official album called Black Country Disco. So, this guy was formerly London based. Now he is West Midlands based, technically, since he went back and then did the album. So, it's kind of cool to have like a little small town based direction. So in this album, he's talking about pretty much his where he's been, what's been going on with his life, pretty much in the sounds of disco. And I came across him thanks to Kylie Minogue's "Kiss Me Once" album when she did "Feel So Good," and I love the song. And I was kind of just going through like looking at the song, and I came across that it's a cover. So I was like, "What? This is a cover? I wanted to hear the original." Had took like a while to find the original, not knowing that it's called Indiana. So I had to find that, listened to it, loved it, and kept track of him since then. And I like his sound. I love it's nice to have a actual like queer artist that actually is queer from the get go. Like I know that we always climb a lot of queer artists from definitely back in 2013, even before it had to climb to that point to come out. But this is great that he was like pretty much always out in a way. So in this album, pretty much talking about his going from London to back to Wolverhampton, but or AKA Black Country, AKA West Midlands. So let's get into it. So I pretty much like all of the album. I love a good story and I love a good album that kind of gives you a timeline as well as give you like an A side and B side. So the first five songs is side A, and the rest of the songs, other five is side B. So let's get into it. So go into Black Country intro into Close to Me, which is, I did not like it at first, Close to Me. I thought at first I was like, okay, this is kind of like, I like the melody, I love the lyrics, I love the production, it's a great start, but I was like, wait a minute. But then as I had to listen to the whole album in full, then go backwards and listen to it, I really like it. I feel like in the beginning I thought, because Black Country is big in Australia, as saying that because it is technically our country, but it's like one of those things, just like I thought that's what he meant, and then for a while back then I used to think that he was Australian due to the fact that Kylie like covered an album, not knowing that Kylie is international, that's not a word, pretty much stays in London, stays in Australia. She's kind of called, pretty much both of them are technically her home. So of course I was completely confused. So going to this, I didn't like it, but then I got into it, went back to listen to it again, and I really did like it. I love I love the guitar in it, sounds nice. I love the trumpet. I love the tuba itch sound, the do 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 kind of thing, and it just sounds really nice. Going to I literally know this word before I started saying it. Carnelian. That one I really like. I like a lot, and I love the idea of learning something from it. Carnelian is pretty much an orange stone. It's supposed to help with overcoming abuse and helping with trusting yourself and your perceptions. So that's pretty much what he's saying in this one. We're getting actually into the relationship direction. Before, we're talking about whether he wanted, like, his low confidence level of being a writer for anybody, and being scared that because he has to tell people like, oh, this is who I wrote for, you don't get to know him as a person as directly. You have to know from his resume, first. And I think he doesn't like that. But this one actually goes into the relationship, talking about whether he is not sure if this is what's going on. He says, if you're my man, why does it hurt so much? When I know that he means nothing to you? And I feel like in this part, I think the ex cheated on him, and so at the same time, he's also his exes also make it seem like it's not a big deal though, and so he's like, but why does it hurt so much then if it's not a big deal, you know? Going to Tinder is post relationship or post breakup, and pretty much talking about how he still feels a bit vulnerable afterwards. It still is a bit tender to think about the stuff, so it's a little hard to talk about and everything. And he says, we gotta do what we gotta do, but it's still a bit tender. It's still a little tender. Going into Tracks was another song I really, really like. This one actually talks about, is kind of going into that direction where it's like, it's tender in general, but now it's also, as time goes on, you do get like familiar stuff that happens on as you go on. So just like, for example, for him, he's like, I went to a party, I smelled this cologne, and it's exact same cologne that my ex wore. And so immediately those thoughts and those memories came flooding right back. And it's something that he doesn't really like, but he understands. But I love the idea that he's taking it, he's considering it as just like understanding it's a norm and it's part of it, the healing process. So Tracks ends the first half, and then we're going to side B, which is number 6, which is Houston, side B, where it says heartbreak, 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 and that's because, and they talk about Houston because Houston is it's pretty much a train station that I am assuming that can go from Houston all the way to Wolverhampton. I'm gonna get used to saying that. Wolverhampton. So pretty much, and you hear it kind of like, and the whole idea is like, okay, after all that's happening, now he's going back, you know? So due to the breakup, before we go into this, he pretty much had to, I don't think, obviously London's not really, like, it's pretty expensive to live in, so I'm sure he had to go backwards to live back in his hometown. He had to move in with it, or I know for sure, he had to move back in with his parents for like a couple of months before moving on his own. So we're in that world now. So WM, which is one of the first singles that he released for this album, which I loved. I love the disco sound. This one pretty much is talking about that, how he had to go back to his hometown after the breakup, and heartbreaking in WM, pretty much what he says. And at the same time, this song is also saying how he wants to go out with his friends, and he said like when he got there after a while, like he was just like, fuck it, let's go out in this town and kind of take it in for what it is. So yeah, and then goes into Dead Already, Save Yourself. Love the production. I feel like this one pretty much talks about pulling the plug on an already dead relationship, kind of going backwards to the post or breakup, and pretty much he's like, so I could forgive you and wait until you do it again and again, or do it again and again, or cut out the poison and never feel this bad no more. And pretty much he says that, and he does feel that way over time. He kind of explains it more, and then at the end he says, you gotta save yourself, you gotta save yourself, you gotta save yourself, like over and over again. And he said that this is pretty much a second half to the song. I feel like it doesn't really feel like a second half, even though the tempo and the production does change a bit, but I also feel like it's so small of a space of doing that. It doesn't feel like a second half. It's like an ending, which is nice. Or a switch up, if anything. And it's pretty much saying, it's like, he has this, like, nothing will ever happen unless you do it yourself, you know, because no one's really gonna save you, or even know what you need to be saving from. I mean, you do, you know. Going into another song that I really like, 01902. This one is the area code for the WM, and pretty much it's just this song, by the way, I really, really like. I love the sound. I think it's my favorite song off the album officially, and that's really going against WM. This is his first production credit, so that's really cool. This is actually the most disco production that he's done on this album, which is I really like. So yeah, and so this one's pretty much about hookup. He's taking a train over to a hookup. And I love that. Just the melody is amazing, and the whole atmosphere of this song is amazing. Finally, going into the final song, Black Country Disco. There's thunder coming in and everything. I really love it. And this one actually was written on his way from Australia, and because he got to go some other place where it's summer, and he basically kind of felt very alive for the first time, and finally, and it kind of got over. Like it seems like his healing is actually taking progress. In this, he says, see. I could see through. If only I could see through time, then I would know that I would just be fine. And pretty much saying, he's like, a shout out to Tinder was like, it's still Tinder, still hurts. And he's like, I wish I knew ahead of time, like I could see the future to know, like I was gonna be okay in the end. And I think that's a great song to end it with by saying like I'm gonna be okay. And yeah, so side note, the Black Country, it's called the WM, or the West Midland, is called Black Country because of all the industry like factories cause a huge like smoke up in the air, and also I think there's also a coal thing going on with it. It says the Black Country is the salt of the salt of the coal industries. There's like apparently there's a 10-meter thick coal seam on the like surface. So it's, I don't really know what that means entirely. I'm gonna look up some more like background on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I really do like this album. I love a story plot. I love storylines. I love it. So I give this one a 9 out of 10. And that's pretty much it. There's no reason for it. I just really like it. And I think it's really nice, and I think it's going somewhere, and I cannot wait for more of his sound. Leave a comment, tell me what you thought. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you all in the next video.